100,000. That would make the Sudan War one of the bloodiest conflicts this decade, up there with the wars in Ukraine and Tigray in terms of body count. But while both sides do bear responsibility, with the SAF infamous for its indiscriminate bombing of civilian areas, it's only the RSF that stands credibly accused of genocide. Only the RSF that is known to have carried out door-to-door ethnic massacres after it captures a city. At the time of writing, there are similar fears for El Fasher. Because it takes a while for us to produce these long videos, it's possible that the city will actually fall by the time you see this, in which case yet another atrocity will have likely been added to this conflict's long list. But while the battle for El Fasher seems to be tipping ever so slowly into the RSF's direction, the rest of the conflict in autumn of 2025 appears to be in a strategic stalemate, according to regional analyst Alex de Waal. Writing for the BBC, de Waal believes that each side is staking its hope on a new offensive, a new delivery of weapons, a new political alliance, but neither can get a decisive advantage. And that does raise a couple of terrifying questions. One, are we now doomed to witness Sudan's disintegration for the second time in 2 decades? And two, how the f*** did we get here? From Janjaweed to RSF, the monster the state built. With the conflict seemingly in stalemate then, let's take a moment to step back and answer one of the most important questions. How do we get here? How do we get to the point where perhaps 400,000 Sudanese lie dead, where entire cities have been torched, and where one of Africa's largest countries seems to be on the cusp of collapsing into anarchy? The conventional answer would take us back to the 15th of April 2023, when the RSF attacked SAF bases across Sudan. However, war is rarely conventional. And if we only go back that far, we'll miss the undercurrents of tension that predated and predicted this conflict. So, let's take an even greater step back, to a time before the RSF was the RSF, to a time when they were simply called the Janjaweed. Now, to understand the roots of the Janjaweed, you need to look not to Sudan, but to its western neighbour Chad, a country ravaged by a protracted civil conflict. In 1980, Muammar Gaddafi, who you probably remember as the Botox-faced Libyan dictator ousted during the Arab Spring, intervened in this conflict to support his ally Gokoni O'Day, then president of Chad. Gaddafi sent his soldiers into Chad, and to aid them, he armed Arab nomads in the country's east, right next to Sudan. Now, by this point, in its war-torn post-colonial history, Sudan was extremely au fait with just how troublesome armed insurgents could be. To act as a deterrent against the forces of Chad, Khartoum armed Arabic-speaking nomads from the Rizakat and Missirah tribes. These two groups, despite the different motives in their formation, would form the backbone of the Janjaweed, which loosely translates as devils on horseback. Both the Rizakat and Missirah belonged to the greater Baggara Arabs fraternity of Darfur and Chad, a group that had once been the lords of the desert, controlling vital trade routes. But by the post-colonial era, their influence had waned, replaced by the emergence of elites centered around Sudan's Nile Valley. The resentment this created towards Khartoum would be one of the key drivers in the RSF's evolution, although the route there would not be simple, running through decades of war and eventual genocide. In 1987, the belligerents in Chad reached a peace deal that stopped Libyan involvement in the conflict. But because this is Africa in the 1980s we're talking about here, there was no way Chad could settle down without Sudan simultaneously exploding. Sporadic fighting between the country's mostly Christian and animist south and the Muslim north had escalated into a full-blown rebellion in 1983. The renewed fighting in Sudan gave the Arab militias ample room to grow, and Khartoum often turned to them as a supplemental force to aid in the fight against the Sudan People's Liberation Army, or SPLA. And yes, that is yet another acronym in a video that is absolutely full of them. And get used to it, because as with many of our Deep Dives episodes, we're about to meet a whole lot of militias going by a whole lot of extremely similar 3 or 4 letter names. Brilliant, isn't it? Now, the SPLA was founded with the goal of re-establishing an autonomous southern Sudan. But while their whole thing was about liberating the country's south, they also identified as a movement for all oppressed Sudanese citizens. We want to emphasize the word oppressed here because oppression is an oft-cited reason for groups in Sudan to fight against the central government. The tribes in the periphery generally feel disconnected from Khartoum and the decisions made by the capital's elites. It's a feeling that has persisted to this day, especially in the West, a region whose relationship with the central state has long been shaped by structural marginalization. According to Alex Duval, in a report for the World Peace Foundation, Darfur is the poorest region in the country. To illustrate, he pointed to Darfur's healthcare system, which has lagged far behind the rest of Sudan since independence. At the time, the region had only 3 hospitals and fewer than 6 beds per 100,000 people. This wasn't just the lowest ratio in the country, it was well below the levels found in Khartoum and elsewhere. While other parts of Sudan slowly expanded their medical infrastructure, Darfur never caught up. By the turn of the millennium, it trailed every other state in key metrics on child survival, nutrition, and basic health services. This neglect wasn't accidental. The government's chief economic minds had made it clear that Khartoum was focused on the so-called Hamdi Triangle. This is a loosely defined area typically understood to mean the commercial farms and towns within a day's drive of Khartoum. Named after former finance minister Abdul Rahim Hamdi, the triangle was the focus of much of the country's investment. Hamdi argued that by itself, this triangle was an economically viable microstate. By focusing on it, the government could ensure prosperity without having to worry about the areas far from Khartoum, like Darfur and southern Sudan, which Hamdi viewed as a labor source for the triangle. The Darfur War, the war in which the Janjaweed cemented their place in Sudanese history, was sparked by this feeling of oppression, specifically allegations from non-Arab tribes that they were victims of an intensifying apartheid campaign from the Arab-led Khartoum government. It was an accusation echoed by prominent international legal experts, including Professor Alan Dershowitz and the former Canadian Minister of Justice, Erwin Kotler. According to Julie Flint and Alex Duval in a report for the UN Secretary General, the anger at Khartoum reached a boiling point in July of 2001 when 2 non-Arab tribes, the Zakawa and Fur, swore oaths to defend their territory. It would be from this pact that one of the decade's most notorious wars was born. Now, before we get to that, we probably need to take a moment to address the gun-toting elephant in the room. When talking about ethnic divisions in Sudan, terms like Arab and Black often get thrown around, as well as reference to Islamists. But that doesn't mean the divisions map onto anything that we'd recognize in the West. Drop down onto a random street in America, all sides in the conflict would be considered black, while the vast majority of them are also practicing Muslims. But no, in Sudan, the divisions have more to do with cultural identity, history, and entrenched hierarchies of power than with skin color alone. The distinctions between those who identified as Arab and those who identified as Black emerged after centuries of Arab migration, intermarriage, and the slave trade. To be an Arab in Sudan means speaking Arabic, practicing Islam, and embracing Arab customs. This cultural identification became a ladder of social prestige, especially as northern elites distanced themselves from indigenous African practices that they viewed as backward and ignorant. And 2 of the groups that they looked down on the most were the Zakawa and the Fur, whose defense pact was about to shift to an offensive arrangement. Things kicked off when the rebels successfully attacked the army on the 25th of February 2002. The rebels continued attacking government installations, targeting police stations, army outposts, military convoys. The SAF retaliated with an air campaign against rebel strongholds in the Moran Mountains, but while their bombing campaign was effective, the government's ground forces, inexperienced in desert combat, were struggling to deal with the rebels. And this became abundantly clear when 2 insurgent groups, the Justice and Equality Movement, or GEM, and the Sudan Liberation Army, SLA, attacked the Sudanese airbase at El Fasher in April 2003. Once the dust settled there, the Sudanese government could assess the scale of the defeat, and it was staggering. Several expensive pieces of military equipment, including Antonov bombers, were destroyed, and the commander of the airbase, a major general, one of the highest ranks in Sudan's military, had been captured. The rebels killed 75, while losing 9. Flint and Duval, in the book Darfur, A Short History of the Long War, would describe this victory as an unprecedented humiliation for the Sudanese army. Despite decades of armed rebellion, no insurgents had ever dealt Khartoum such a psychological blow, and they took full advantage, winning battle after battle. On the battlefield, the government shifted to a 3-pronged strategy: military intelligence, the air force, and deploying Arab militias, collectively known as the Janjaweed, as the main force to fight the insurgents. The decision to use the Janjaweed was not unanimous. According to Flint and Duval's book, General Ibrahim Suleiman, former army chief of staff and the then governor of Darfur, warned against it. He believed that And we'll quote here, "A racially based mobilization would have terrible repercussions on intertribal relations for the next several decades." End quote. It wouldn't take several decades for the general to be proven absolutely right. It was only going to take months. While fighting the insurgents, the Janjaweed conducted what international observers, including Human Rights Watch, described as an ethnic cleansing of the tribes involved in the insurgency, with then US Secretary of State Colin Powell describing the Janjaweed's campaign as genocide. These condemnations, however, rang hollow, as they weren't accompanied by any meaningful action. In fact, it was the opposite. According to the New York Times, when asked what the Sudanese government could do to resolve the Janjaweed issue, Powell rather blithely replied, "Since they turned it on, they could turn it off." During this period, the Janjaweed was led by Musa Hawal, chief of the Mohammed, a branch of the Urizakat ethnic group. He collaborated with Sudan's then president, Omar al-Bashir, to formalize the Janjaweed into a paramilitary force called the Border Intelligence Unit. And remember Musa's name, he is going to become rather important later on. And it was within this brutal formalized militia that a new leader would emerge, a man who would eventually eclipse his own commanders. His name was Mohammed Dagalo, but you and me and the rest of the world would come to know him by the nickname Hemeti on account of his baby-faced looks, Hemeti being an affectionate nickname meaning Little Muhammad. And it would be Hemeti who would take that paramilitary force, suborned to the elites in Khartoum, and turn it into a vehicle for conquest. Just a quick pause to share something with you that we are rather excited about over here. No, we're not asking for donations to fund our counter lawsuit against Somalia yet. Also, probably won't be necessary. Instead, we want to tell you how Warfronts has expanded into a brand new medium. Front.co. It's a website. It's not a .com because that was unavailable, and even if available, really expensive. This was expensive enough. So, after launching our newsletter earlier this year, we realised there is an appetite out there for our brand of analysis in the written form. So, we got in touch with some experts, including actual award-winning journalists who agreed to write for us. No. They did, though, they did. Warfronts grew so fast. And now we're showing you the results. Fronts.co is our subscriber-only website featuring longer-form, in-depth articles on aspects of defense and geopolitics that we feel are getting overlooked. The inner mechanics of Russia's sanctions evasion, how maths can make you a better warfighter. Yes, really. And it
My name is Kamira Grant. I was wrong for everything.
It's okay,
For everything that I did. And
not to say anything, keep it respectful. This is the child.
My name is Kamira Grant.
Into the World Peace Foundation, or WPF, he referred to him as Hamyati, my protector. In a sign of how close their relationship was, Bashir allowed Hemeti to hold onto the gold mines of Darfur's Jebel Amar mountain range, Sudan's single largest source of export revenues, after the latter had captured it from rebels. The relationship wasn't always rosy, though. In a portent of things to come, Hemeti led a Janjaweed mutiny against the government in 2007. According to the WPF, he led his forces into the bush, promising to fight Khartoum, and I quote here, until Judgment Day. His troops shot down an army helicopter as Hemeti negotiated with the militias in Darfur and threatened to storm Niala, the capital of South Darfur, where, in 2025, 18 years later, he would announce the formation of a parallel government. Hemeti eventually cut a deal with Khartoum, ending the rebellion. In exchange, the government would pay its troops unpaid salaries and other compensation to the wounded and the families of the dead. Hemeti in turn secured a promotion to the rank of general and a significant cash payment for himself. The documentary shot during this time enshrined Hemeti's cult-like presence among the Sudanese people. It showed him as more than just a military leader, but as a charming master negotiator, capable of death-threatening parallel negotiations with the rebels in his own government, while still showing deep concern for his troops. Recruiting both Arabs and non-Arabs in his forces further endeared the republic. This was at a time when the divisions between Sudan's groups was at their most pronounced. After making peace with the government, Hemeti's troops were folded into the border guards, headed by Musa Hilal. Hemeti, however, quickly became a rival to his commander and soon received his own legion. And yeah, now it's time to introduce one of the two big players in Sudan's current war, the Rapid Support Forces. The RSF was initially constituted to fight the Sudan People's Liberation Army North, or SPLAN, armed group whose remnants are still fighting in Sudan's Nuba Mountains to this day. Despite early missteps against the SPLAN, the RSF learned crucial lessons that would serve them well in future fights, most notably the 2015 defeat of the GEM in Al-Nakara and Gozdango. 2015 would also mark the RSF's first international excursion. After the March 2015 Saudi Emirati military intervention in Yemen, Taha al-Hussein, Bashar's chief of staff, made an agreement with Riyadh to deploy Sudanese troops. The operation would be led by, among others, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, a name some of you will already remember from the introduction. For those in need of a bit of a refresher, he today is the leader of the SAF. In other words, the guys Hemeti's RSF are currently fighting against. And speaking of the RSF, the troops used in Yemen were mostly RSF fighters loyal to Hemeti. And from a military standpoint, they did a good job. The Sudanese forces were instrumental to the creation of a buffer zone in the north of Yemen along the Saudi border and the capture of Hajar Governorate and Bidi Port, which most experts believe was a Houthi supply port. By 2017, Hemeti was in control of not only Sudan's gold mines, but also some of the best equipped and trained armed groups in the country. Al-Bashir would further reward him by passing a law that legitimized the RSF as an independent security force. By doing this, Al-Bashir was borrowing straight from the How to Be a Dictator Dummies book. Specifically, the chapter on divide and rule. By elevating Hemeti, he was deliberately creating a parallel power center to counterbalance the regular army. Al-Bashir was betting that if the army ever attempted a coup, the RSF would help secure his rule, a sentence we're just going to be dangling there for just a moment, just to emphasize a little of what we in the business call dramatic irony. We told Hemeti's story to illustrate an important point about the man at the helm of the RSF. He has unlimited ambition, and his ultimate goal is to rule all of Sudan. It's an ambition he may be fulfilling. Under his watch, the RSF has evolved from a ragtag militia to an organized armed force, and most recently into a parallel government, one that now threatens to split the whole of Sudan in two. 2019, the revolution that didn't finish the job. While Hemeti was nursing his ambition, Sudan was diving headfirst into a crisis. We've briefly touched on Omar al-Bashir, but only in the context of the Janjaweed and RSF. What we haven't told you is that al-Bashir had ruled Sudan since 1989, when he led a coup against the elected Prime Minister Sadiq al-Mahdi. His rule faced stiff opposition from the public and other political parties for what they viewed as heinous human rights violations and oppressive Islamist policies. The public routinely protested, and some military figures attempted coups, but these were crushed under al-Bashir's iron fist. One protest, though, running from 2011 to 2013, almost brought Sudan to its knees. The story of South Sudan's fight against Khartoum has kind of gotten lost in the narrative of Hemeti's rise, but the key point is that after decades of conflict, the South won the right for a referendum on independence and in July of 2011 finally split off to become the world's youngest nation. Of course, this being a former part of Sudan, things were nowhere near as smooth as the international community had hoped, and soon the new country was embroiled in its own civil war. But the key part for today's story is that South Sudan's independence meant Khartoum lost access to a large number of oil fields. The result was a sudden collapse in Sudan's income, runaway inflation, and a severe lack of dollars to cover essential imports. The cost of living absolutely skyrocketed. And to address the economic crisis, the Sudanese government announced several unpopular austerity measures. Taxes were raised, civil servants were laid off, the price of fuel increased, and people hit the streets in the thousands. What started as anti-austerity protests quickly escalated into demands for al-Bashir's resignation, encapsulated by the phrase, Ashab yurid iskat an-nizam. The people want to bring down the regime. Khartoum responded with batons, tear gas, and live bullets, effectively quashing the protests. But while Bashir could beat the protesters into compliance, he couldn't just get his goons to thwack the economic fundamentals with a large stick and make the bad numbers go away. And as the line ticked ever further downwards, that meant Bashir being forced to take more and more measures guaranteed to keep the flame of anger not just alive, but itself royally pissed. In 2018, Khartoum had eliminated several subsidies which immediately doubled the price of bread across the country. Fatima Ahmed, a local housewife, perfectly captured the country's reaction to this price increase in an interview with Reuters. Quote, "The new prices will make us starve to death. The government doesn't care about us. Our conditions are harsh. We won't be able to endure more." It wasn't just bread. Khartoum had devalued the Sudanese pound, which led to wildly fluctuating exchange rates and reduced the amount of hard cash that people could access. Long lines for basic commodities became a common sight throughout the country. These would eventually become more than just a symbol of scarcity and empty bellies. They became incubators of frustration so great that it would eventually bring down the regime. Now, the first spark emerged in Atbara in December 2018, and within days, the fire spread to Port Sudan, Dongola, and finally into Khartoum. The government initially tortured protesters into admitting that they were members of the Sudan Liberation Movement, or SLM. The choice of the SLM over the dozens of armed groups that have ravaged Sudan was meant to convince the general public that there was a racial element to the protests. If this worked, it would deflate all support for the protests. These forced confessions, though, did little to douse the public's anger. As many dictators have only found out at the last moment, people aren't stupid, and treating your starving man...
There was no exit wound in the all-top. We're talking about the tearing up of the crime scene, and everybody's wanting them to find the bullet. I mean, if the bullet hit any bone at all, there is no bullet. It's just fragmentation.
Great point.
And
that was discussed already.
if there was no exit wound in the autopsy though. There should be, I mean, if there was no exit wound, then there should be fragmentation of the bullet would have fragmented it into who knows how many pieces.
The doctor, and again, this is not a non-disclosure violation, but the doctor came out there and told us. And then they also told Chief of Staff. So the bullet came in and hit the vertebra. And so it came in and then tore up everything in the wound cavity, hit the vertebra, crushed it, shattered it, turned, crushed the second one, turned, kept going down all the way. I think they said C6.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like, why not put that info out? Why not put it out? And then
Why wouldn't they put that out?
And it do me a favor. Don't make me do it. It's not my job. And so then it got to here, and you're exactly right. And then hit, I think, 6, and then fragged. So explanation 101. What do you got? You know, it's like I'm sitting back here when people are saying we bombed him. There's that wound. I'm like, hey, if somebody would, from an official capacity, would just release that. I don't see how that jeopardizes a fair trial for a guy. And or somebody call the doctor. Somebody just call him. I've done a lot of death notifications where I had to tell kids that their parents were dead or their parents that their kids were dead. And I know what pain looks and sounds like. I wake up screaming sometimes, thinking of kids. The words that came out of her mouth and how they came out when she walked in that room and saw him. You don't want to hear that. She's a victim. That's her husband. And now people without any proof are saying that she was a part of killing him. Come on, man. anything to substantiate it with. That's what makes me lose faith in people. And that we allow it. And that platforms allow it. Like, it goes against everything that we are. And if we're going to allow that, what else are we going to allow? You hear that kind of
Caesar's
thing
equally
come from somebody.
manipulated dum-dums can be an
It's
extremely efficient way of making the
And I can only
transition
imagine
from
the pain she's
dictator
feeling
to
now.
overthrown tyrant. And
I
so
haven't
we enter the
heard
dying days of the
Shield
al-Bashir
Lord.
regime, one that had lasted 30 long years.
Those are
In
lies.
2019, the dictator declared a
So-
year-long state of emergency, dissolved the
And
central
so-
and regional governments, and replaced regional leaders with military
And so
officers.
then
We
we have
also
that.
appointed Mohammed Tahir Ayala as Prime Minister and Defense Minister General Awad Ibn Auf as First Vice President. His final act of defiance, he banned unauthorized demonstrations, a move that, predictably, only led to even more demonstrations. On the 6th of April, the Sudanese Professionals Association, or SPA, called for a march to the Armed Forces headquarters, which was answered by hundreds of thousands, some of whom brought mattresses. The sheer scale of the turnout dwarfed the protests of 2011. This wasn't a few pissed off people trying to complain. This was a tidal wave of ill feeling, all about to come crashing down on one man. To be fair to them, Bashir's National Intelligence and Security Service did their best, firing live rounds at the protesters, but then the army allowed the demonstrators into its HQ before opening fire on the NISS. And with that, the countdown to the end of the dictatorship had officially begun. The timer reached zero on Thursday, the 11th of April 2019. That day, General Awad Ibn Auf announced that al-Bashir had moved to a safe place following the regime's collapse. In that same breath, he also announced that he would be at the helm of a military-led transitional government. Finally, he imposed a 3-month state of emergency, suspended Sudan's 2005 constitution, and closed the nation's airspace for 24 hours. For the protesters, this was a little like learning that your arsehole boss has been fired, but his replacement would be his equally arsehole identical twin brother. To say that they went nuts is to do a disservice to Barsnax. Amid uprising public anger, Ibn Auf resigned, choosing the army's Inspector General as his successor. And it's here that the other major player in Sudan's current war makes his appearance. Because, as you probably guessed, that Inspector General was none other than Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. At the time, though, the protesters were jubilant. After all, it's not as if al-Burhan seemed like the sort of guy who might soon plunge their nation into an apocalyptic war. So if that's the case, then who exactly was he? Despite not being a cult-like figure like Hemeti, al-Burhan had built a name for himself within the army as a competent officer across a decades-long career. The protesters liked him because he was one of the military leaders who reached out to them during the sit-in. Additionally, and we have to stress this was a really big deal among Sudanese military men at the time, he hadn't been implicated in any war crimes and wasn't wanted by international courts. Which is a plus. And with that, al-Burhan went from well-respected but relatively unknown military man to the guy at the helm of Sudan, basically overnight. Amid the chaos of the revolution, though, al-Burhan wasn't the only one who was rising. Weeks before al-Bashir's ouster, Hemeti had endeared himself to the public by refusing an order from the president to shoot the protesters. Then when the endgame came, the RSF, which remember had been elevated by al-Bashir precisely so it could protect him from a military coup, had stepped aside and allowed the generals to do their thing. This, alongside the RSF's strength, earned Hemeti a place in the country's Transitional Military Council, or TMC, as al-Burhan's number 2. However, according to Ishan Tharoor, foreign affairs columnist for the Washington Post, Hemeti was the TMC's de facto leader. The days following al-Burhan's ascension were marked by significant wins for the protesters. On the 13th, al-Burhan announced the release of all political prisoners and an end to the curfew imposed by Ibn Auf. On the 14th, the TMC announced steps towards civilian rule, including the selection of a civilian prime minister by the protesters. On the 15th, Dr. Mohammed Nagib al-Sam, one of the most well-known demonstrators, proclaimed that the trust between the protesters and the military was deepening after further conversations. For the first time in a long time, Sudan's future looked bright. And that's the story of how Sudan successfully transitioned to a stable democracy. Thanks for watching. No. Of course it didn't end there. While we love to live in the universe where this video can now end, we still have half an hour to go, in which the ambitious two men are going to derail the fledgling democracy and place Sudan on a path towards yet more carnage. And it all started at the place where the al-Bashir regime ended, outside the army headquarters. While the talks about the structure of the new government were going on, the protesters were still staging a sit-in outside the army HQ under the banner of the Forces of Freedom and Change, or FFC. By late May, the Professionals Association began ringing alarm bells, warning that the TMC was planning a lethal attack to end the sit-in. On Monday, 3rd of June, the eve of the final day of the holy month of Ramadan, the inevitable happened. Before dawn, the TMC's armed wing, composed of soldiers from the SAF, the RSF, the MISS, and the police, surrounded the sit-in area. The police initially tried to break the area, but when the protesters resisted, the soldiers opened fire. Human Rights Watch reported that soldiers assaulted demonstrators, set fire to their tents, and committed unspeakable acts of sexual violence. Reports would later emerge of militia forces dumping bodies in the Nile. Most estimates put the death toll at over 100. Yusra El-Baghir, Africa correspondent at Sky News, captured the shock in Sudan, writing on X, "Everyone feels broken and dejected. You can see it on their faces, on the bus, in the streets. The revolution was stolen from the people. Those in Khartoum aren't just mourning the lives that have been lost, but the loss of a space that became the heart of the revolution." To its credit, the international community tried to intervene. The African Union suspended Sudan's membership, while other nations piled on pressure. Before long, the TMC had agreed to a new deal with the FFC, which, remember, is the initialism the protesters were using, to develop a new transitional structure. The key part was the establishment of an 11-member Transitional Sovereignty Council, so many acronyms, or TSC, comprised of 5 civilians chosen by the FFC, 5 military officials selected by the TMC, and 1 civilian mutually agreed upon by both groups. Both Al-Burhan and Hemeti secured positions on the council, with Al-Burhan as the chair and Hemeti as his deputy. And yes, we know there's a lot of TMCs and TSCs and FFCs to keep in your head. Honestly, don't worry about it too much. We're starting to lose track a little of who is doing what. The important thing is just to keep your eye on what Hemeti and Al-Burhan are up to as they skulk around the stage preparing for their big scene. The transition was planned for 39 months, with the military ruling for the first 21 months and the civilians the final 18. The handover was expected to happen in November of 2021, and remember that date because we're going to come back to it in a minute. Under the TSC, Sudan would make significant democratic gains, the rights of the country's Christian minority improved, the press had greater freedom, and al-Bashir's surveillance infrastructure was dismantled. However, this would all come to an end with perhaps the least surprising twist in geopolitical history, the military coup that would make Hemeti and Al-Burhan Sudan's undisputed rulers. The state collapses. Now, despite the democratic gains, there was always an undercurrent of tension among the TSC members. At its core was a marriage of convenience built on a bed of distrust with a side piece of barely hidden animosity. A household so dysfunctional that everyone knew that divorce was inevitable. The only question was when. The first attempt to dissolve this awkward partnership and make off with the kids happened in September 2021 when soldiers loyal to al-Bashir attempted a coup. Although the coup attempt failed, no one thought it would be the last. In this, people's intuition was helped by the growing tension in the TSC. The army began to demand changes to the FFC coalition and a reformation of the cabinet. The civilian leadership viewed this as nothing more than a naked power grab. And then came the protests. On the 16th of October, pro-military demonstrators took to the streets chanting, "Down with the hunger government," calling for Al-Burhan to seize power. One protester told the AFP that they were protesting because, and we'll quote here, "the current government has failed to bring us justice and equality." Unlike previous demonstrations, protesters got to the gates of the presidential palace with little resistance from the police or other security agents who were conspicuously absent. Despite their relatively small numbers, the demonstrators raised several fair points. Sudan was still in the grip of a ruinous economic crisis that made it difficult for people to afford essentials, and the government had done little to hold the perpetrators of the massacre outside Army HQ accountable. The feeling that Yusra wrote about, that the revolution had been stolen from the people, was palpable throughout much of the country. However, most of Sudan preferred a civilian solution to these challenges. They came out in their hundreds of thousands on the 21st of October to protest against the possibility of military rule. The date was historic because 57 years prior, the Sudanese people had overthrown another military regime and established a constitutional government. Channeling that sense of history, the protesters called on al-Burhan to resign and for the military to hand power over to civilians. One chant was, "This is our country and our government is civilian." The military's response was, "No thank you very much," and it was spelt out with live bullets and tear gas. While the demonstrations were ongoing, Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, the leader of the cabinet, announced that he was speaking to all sides to find a solution to the crisis. But it seemed few sides were listening. On the 25th of October, a mere 6 days before the civilians would take over the TSC, the military arrested 5 senior government figures and announced that they had taken over the government. That same day, al-Burhan announced a state of emergency and the formation of a new technocratic government that would lead Sudan until the next elections in July 2023. This government would include figures from the National Congress Party, a political outfit that had propped up al-Bashir's regime for decades. Al-Burhan would later deny that he had led a coup. He insisted that what he did was necessary to avoid a civil war because the politicians were inciting the public against the military. He portrayed himself as a man with few options who had done what he thought was right for the country. It was a portrayal echoed by Hemeti in an interview with Al Jazeera, where he said, "What happened on October the 25th was the ultimate outcome of a long process. Many discussions were made and many initiatives proposed. We were left with 3 options, the best of which was the move we took, and it was completely agreeable to the Prime Minister himself. We did not make such a move on our own." But while the 2 men could dress it up in fancy words, the fact is that if it walks like a coup, swims like a coup, and seizes power from civilian officials like a coup, then you know the rest, don't you? Come November 2021, there would be no handover of power to civilians. Surprise! Alex de Waal, an analyst whose work we've quoted extensively, believes al-Burhan and Hemeti might have been motivated more by self-interest than any genuine fear of a civil war. Writing for the BBC, he pointed to the fact that both generals wanted al-Bashir tried in Sudan instead of the ICC out of a fear that he would implicate them in alleged war crimes. This placed them at odds with the civilian members of the TSC who preferred an ICC trial. De Waal also believes that the generals feared that an investigation into the Khartoum massacre would hold them accountable for the atrocity. Finally, he argued that the military wanted to protect its vast commercial empire, which included several tax-exempt companies, from civilian oversight. Prime Minister Hamdok had become increasingly critical of the army's entanglement with the economy and their ever-increasing share of the national budget, and the belief was that a fully civilian government would limit this. De Waal's analysis was supported by Oscar Rickett, who, in a piece for Middle East Eye, claimed that the generals staged the coup to safeguard their wealth and influence while shielding themselves from international criminal court prosecution. But let's be real, shall we? No one in Sudan needed analysts to tell them a coup had just gone down. And so Sudanese took to the streets once again in another doomed bid to stop things from going horribly wrong. Look, by now, you could probably guess how the security forces responded. They started singing Kumbaya and holding hands with the protesters, didn't they? Well, no, of course they didn't. They launched an all-out campaign of violence, which is a bit different. The African Union, which had reinstated Sudan, once again suspended its membership. The US, EU, IMF, and World Bank froze millions of dollars earmarked for aid. The coup was also unpopular among traditional international partners, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Russia. The International Crisis Group described a sense of surprise in Khartoum to the fierceness of the resistance both at home and internationally. Hemeti, sensing that the tide was turning against the military, began distancing himself from al-Burhan. Their relationship was already strained after the appointment of al-Bashir-era officials to important posts, suggesting to Hemeti that al-Burhan sought to entrench the supremacy of Khartoum's traditional ruling class, the same elites that had long looked down on the tribes Hemeti was proudly a part of. The aid freeze left Sudan in dire straits. The economy could barely even be said to be shambling along, and the people could feel it when they looked at their empty wallets and felt the hunger in their bellies. Hemeti tried to align himself with the public, going as far as presenting himself as a reformer and negotiating with the protest leaders. This caused the rift between the 2 generals to grow wider, transforming from a fort into something the size of the Grand Canyon. Hemeti was counting on one key fact, that regardless of how much the protesters distrusted the RSF, many of them viewed the army as their historical enemy, a feeling that had only grown stronger after the appointment of al-Bashir-era loyalists. And this would come to be the defining feature of Sudan's final months of peace, a constantly widening rift between two men with the ego and military forces to believe that they might one day become the sole ruler of the country. There was the signing of a December 2022 framework aimed at restoring Sudan to civilian rule. Mehdi championed the deal because of clauses he believed would give him autonomy from Al Burhan and the army. One of these clauses recognized the RSF as a regular entity affiliated with the armed forces, but under the direct command of a civilian head of state rather than the army chief. Conversely, Al Burhan only signed the deal because of significant external pressure, feeling that it unfairly benefited Hemeti. Then there was the spike in tensions in February and early March 2023 after an intense competition between the RSF and SAF to recruit new talent throughout Sudan, particularly in Hemeti's stronghold of Darfur. At the same time, rumors began to spread that the SAF was courting Musa Hilal, former leader of the Janjaweed and Hemeti's longtime rival, as a way to make inroads into Hemeti's Rizkan ethnic group and weaken his base of support. Hemeti responded to the SAF's provocation by initiating a rapid military build-up in Khartoum, which the
Fucking confusing.
Van Jones. Van Jones is a black guy. He's a commentator, liberal, racist, you know. He, I love when people feel they need to say things like you're going to see Van Jones say in a second here. I think it's honestly, the truth is just too painful. The truth will make it so you can't sleep at night. You will curl up in the fetal position in a shower. The truth is debilitating for some of these people. So you have to come up with these little pep talks for yourself and your people to make it sound like you're doing great. Because the truth, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. So here's a Van Jones commenting on the black community and black Americans. Let's listen.
To go to the brother's point, the reason I was about to jump out my chair and hug this brother is because who are the most innovative people in the history of the world? That's right. We are the most innovative, the most creative. We have done so much for so long with so little, we can damn near do anything with nothing. And now you're going to give us the most powerful creative tools ever and expect us to lose? No. No, not at all. The reality is we are most likely to dominate. To go to the...
In basketball, I'll give you that. Most, you'll dominate. You'll dominate in certain professional sports. The music industry, sure. Dominate. Trying to sell it like the greatest innovators, please give me an example. And don't give me the filament in the light bulb or the stoplight. I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. And if I hear the name George Washington Carver and his fucking peanuts, I'm going to slap you. Because that's the only innovation I've ever heard. And two of those are flat out bull. They were patent issues. But most innovating do so much with nothing, do you? How come sub-Saharan Africa is still, there's still huts like Gilligan's Island. They're running around like it's Gilligan's Island in 2025.
Hey, do you know what that building on Beacon Hill is?
Yeah, I heard it's a secret lair.
The Curve.
Haunted house.
This is actually affordable family-sized housing supported by Amazon's Housing Fund, creating over 10,000 affordable homes here in Puget Sound.
I just don't believe in his policies, and I believe he's racist.
Okay. What proof do you have that he's racist?
I don't have anything. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Don't you need proof to back that up?
For an opinion, I don't.
He should be in jail for everything that he does. I mean, he's stealing money. He's making money off the American public.
He is similar, very similar to Hitler. He's a dictator. He's not a president.
What are some of the main things we think of when we think of Hitler? Like, what did he do?
I'm trying to blink now. There's music in my ear.
So what's the proof that he's racist?
Again, that is my opinion. I'm not here to prove it to you.
Are you okay?
You come here, Leopard.
That's okay. You don't have to cry. It's okay. It's just a question. We're back at the downtown Lakeland Farmers Market. I hope everybody behaves themselves today. Well, we had to come back. We're having dialogue in the public square the way it's meant to be. So stay tuned. Let's go talk to some people. You could give Donald Trump a letter grade, A through F. What would you grade him?
F. He failed. He's terrible.
Okay.
No comment.
Why would you give him like a million Fs?
I give him a million Fs because he is similar, very similar to Hitler.
He's what?
Very similar to Hitler. He's a dictator. He's not a president.
Okay. So he's a dictator.
Yeah.
Okay, what are some of the main things we think of when we think of Hitler? Like, what did he do?
I'm trying to blink now. There's music in my ear.
What would you give him?
Yes.
Why so?
I just don't believe in his policies, and I believe he's racist.
Okay. What proof do you have that he's racist?
I don't have anything. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Don't you need proof to back that up?
For an opinion, I don't.
Okay. No, well, that's how opinions are formed, reading facts and digesting information.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's been sued how many times for racial discrimination in New York for his housing units? That's just one example.
Yeah, well, he was one of the first people to let black people work for him in Mar-a-Lago and his other companies.
Well, you know, I have actually been to Mar-a-Lago, and I've seen the facilities there. I'm a retired chef.
They're beautiful, aren't they?
No, they're not. That kitchen's rough.
That would go -3 at
Negative
least.
3?
And his presidency's not over yet, so
Yeah, I know. So he could improve.
no, he's only go lower. for
No?
sure.
Why would you give him such a low number?
Because he is I don't want to say it, pushing back this country like 100 years in terms of the social situation and stuff. Have a good day.
I have no clue what you mean by that, I'll be honest. Look at those birds! Hi! I was like, oh man, I'm ready to tussle.
Yes, you are. I've seen you. Good job.
I love your birds. What are their names?
It is Winnie
Winnie.
and Tequila. He
And
wants to eat
Tequila.
your nut.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah, you're like a liberal, huh? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. What do you think?
Honestly, Z.
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 Okay, why would you say that?
Honestly, he's just, I don't know how to put it into words, but he's just so special with everything he's been doing, with holding stamps, building the ballroom when people are hungry. It's
Yeah.
just, it's crazy.
So when he's building the ballroom, when people are going hungry, how do you kind of relate the two to be together?
I mean, withholding SNAP benefits because the government shut down and it's just spending. I mean, yeah, it's his own money, but at the same time, his country's hungry,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just like, well, I'm gonna ignore the courts, not do what they're telling me to do.
What letter grade would you give him?
Yeah, what's below F?
What below F? An F minus? Why would you give him an F minus?
Because he sucks.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Why so?
About the people, he cares about himself and making his rich friends rich.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I just think that he's corrupt.
What grade would you give Donald Trump's job so far in his second term?
Absolute 0.
On a grading scale like A, B,
F.
F? Why so?
I think he's been doing a terrible job, actually. I think he's actively trying to harm our nation. I think he's not only has he been actively ruining our defense, he's been trying to dumb our nation down. He's been trying to, I would say, basically just trying to weaken us.
Okay. How would you think that he's trying to weaken us? On purpose?
Yes.
Okay. What examples do you have for that proof? That was very brave of you. Did your lady let you come back and say that? So if someone came up and accused you, your character, of just basically tried to character assassinate you and claim something really awful and tell other people about it, wouldn't you want them to at least be able to say why they believe that about you?
Again, first off, I don't tell anybody else about it unless they ask me, but it would be based on the same thing I'm basing it on: his actions, what he's done in his life, his rhetoric that he spills every day.
Like what? Can I have proof?
I mean, I don't know anything right off the bat, but I would say, this invading our cities with the military.
That's racism?
No, that's not racism, but the people he's targeting is racist.
That's a letter grade, A through F. What would you give Donald Trump in his second term?
Just F.
F.
10,000 F's.
She said A.
She doesn't know English, she's a child.
C. She's like, I want an A. All right. Wow. Why would you say that?
So many.
So many.
I can't get started.
A through F. What would you grade them?
Are you effing kidding me?
That's a good one. That is genuinely funny. I'm guessing it's an F.
Well, he's apparently fond of doing that to lots of people of all kinds of genders.
Oh, you can't outrun me in those heels. Can you go faster? Go faster.
Fashion.
Okay, you're very brave and strong. I don't talk to effing fascists. That's okay. Look how you're dressed. I'd rather be a fascist than walk around like that.
He's targeting workers, illegal or not, and I'm not saying they should be here illegally, but he's targeting people that are working and contributing to our country. And from what I've seen, for the most part, the ones he's targeting, they're wrong. A lot of people are American citizens already, and they're just targeting because of their look, the way they talk. They might speak Spanish, whatever. I just don't think that's right. And as a military member, I certainly don't agree with the fact of putting our armed forces in our streets. That goes against everything I was taught in the military.
So what's the proof that he's racist?
Again, that is my opinion.
Okay.
I'm not here to prove it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you my opinion. You ask me a question, I'll give you my opinion.
Okay. And then I asked you a question about what's your proof.
Yeah, and
You don't have any.
Oh, I have some, but I'm not gonna stand here and, I've already given you 2 examples. He was sued once for racial discrimination and lost.
Are people sued frivolously all the time?
It has nothing to do with it. You asked me a question, I answered it.
Okay.
That you asked me, what's my proof? That's one example of him being racist.
Anything more recent?
I don't know. His rhetoric every day. Just watching.
What's one piece of rhetoric from him?
I don't know. Because I really don't watch it. I don't really watch his speeches and everything. When I see on social media, different quotes, things like that, his past discretions.
Well, can I give you some feedback? If you actually went to ground.news/liberty, you could see stuff from Donald Trump and Republicans in general every day. Sources from the left, from the right, and from the center of what they're all reporting about a single story. So you can get different perspectives from every single side of the aisle and even in the center of the aisle. And you can even get a 40% off code when you're watching back how beautiful you look on this video right here at Liberty Hangout. Ground.news/liberty. On the screen, there will be a QR code. You can click it and get a 40% off subscription. You get all kinds of neat tools on this app where you can see a breakdown of exactly how each story is biased towards whatever side or even down the middle. And it might keep you more informed, and maybe you can learn more about Donald Trump to be able to rattle off why you think he's racist.
Maybe so.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. We're asking people if they would rate Donald Trump letter grade A through F. What would you give him?
A+.
A+, that's right, buddy. Sounds good. Just kind of like a moment of reflection. Before you go and you say this stuff, and with certainty, and you tell someone that Trump is doing X, Y, and Z, you might not have the full
Caught me
picture.
very off guard, and so I didn't know what to say.
Okay.
So,
Do you want to redo any of what you said?
not much because I've only heard from what other people are saying, and
Are you okay?
I'm not nearly okay.
That's okay. You don't have to cry. It's okay. It's just a question. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't mean to make her cry. It was just.
Okay, I don't like cameras, and I didn't realize you were recording me.
Oh, this is so big. I don't know how you missed it. Pretend you're his teacher, and he's in your classroom. What grade would you give him?
Is there something below F?
You're the teacher.
Yeah, like a G,
Negative
like
X.
a X. Yeah, it's horrible.
Okay. All right. Why such a low grade?
He's horrible. He's a horrible human being.
Absolutely horrible human being.
Okay.
Yeah, he cares nothing about anybody but himself and money.
Okay.
And
He does like money.
He lies to everybody and makes them think that he's interested in helping them, but he is not.
Okay. All right. What proof do you have in a second term? Hasn't even been a year yet, but you have such strong feelings. I know you had a first term too. What are some things you can point to and say, that's why I feel that way?
Just the way he treats people, the
Yeah.
comments that he makes, the things that he says, and he doesn't care. And the fact that he just does what he wants and he's not held accountable
Okay. What are some things that he should be held accountable for?
for invading cities in the United States of America using our army to attack our citizens. He should go,
Attacking young women,
yeah.
the way he just talks about young women,
Okay.
or women in general.
Okay. He should be held accountable for that.
Absolutely should be.
What type of consequences should he have for?
He should have been in jail
Yeah.
for years.
He shouldn't be in office of president, for
He-
sure.
He should be in jail for
Absolutely.
how he talks about people.
No, for everything that he does.
The stealing and the
Destroying
tax
the White
evasion
House
and, yeah.
and
Just do whatever he
Jackie
wants.
Kennedy's Rose Garden. I mean, who does that?
He should be in jail for that.
Yeah, he should be in jail for everything that he does. I mean, he's stealing money, he's making money off the American public, and nobody.
That's a pretty big claim. What proof do you have for that?
Based on everything that you read, all the. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Just
have to
one bit
read
of.
something.
Yeah. What should I read to know that he's stealing money and he should be in jail for that?
Anything on the
Anything.
news. Just pull up anything one day and you'll see all the stuff that he's doing wrong.
Okay. Because I do look at the news quite often just to stay involved. I'm never saying.
We're gonna go.
If you have any proof, I'd love to know. You didn't pack the truth or the proof with us today. Why do people think that if you have a dialogue just off the cuff, instead of saying, I don't know too much about that, so I'm not going to comment on it, they just make these claims and they have no. You don't need to study up on your opinions. You should form them based on facts and be able to talk about it.
Hitler didn't like Jews, so he killed them and got rid of them. That is technically what Trump is trying to do.
Trump is trying to kill the Jews?
Not the Jews. Whoa.
Okay.
The Hispanics. What he's doing, ridding the eyes. People are still going things about the right way, or at least trying to, and he's not allowing that.
Okay. So you think, because Hitler's intention was to murder a bunch of people, and you think Trump's intention is to murder
Not
Hispanics?
murder, but he wants to get rid of them. He doesn't want them here.
Okay. Do you think it might be that he doesn't want illegal immigrants here and has nothing to do with Hispanics?
He's not going about it the right way if he does.
Okay. So you said he's a dictator.
Mhm.
In what ways is he a dictator?
Huh?
In what ways is he a dictator?
I just told you.
Just the immigration stuff?
That's one of them.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
I don't have time to say them all right now because I have to go do other things.
Okay. Can you just give me one more in like 30 seconds?
I have to go.
Because a dictator, have you seen all of the protests rising up against him?
I have.
Yeah. Dictators don't let that happen. And ICE officers that you're saying he's a dictator for, it's actually Title 8 U.S. Code 1325 that they're operating under, which is completely constitutional. Dictators don't follow the Constitution. Alrighty. That's a good man right there. You know what? Let's just walk away. He's protecting his lady. We like that. We're asking people to grade Donald Trump A through F. If you were his teacher and he was a student in your classroom, what would you give him?
Probably a hot D. Yeah, probably a D.
That's more than I expected.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Why?
I don't like the government as it is. So I don't really like any politicians. So I just kind of steer clear of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Trump's policies?
Yeah. I don't really care enough.
No? No.
Yeah, pretty much. Don't care enough. I mean, no matter what I think, it's not going to change what he's doing anyway.
Of course,
so,
of course.
what difference is it going to make, my opinion?
What letter grade would you give him?
An F. Yes. Yeah.
Not an F minus?
Oh, we can do F minus. Is that a thing? We'll do F minus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone in my high school got an F minus somewhere. Why would you give him an F minus?
I mean, he hasn't fulfilled any promises. His policies are awful just for humans in general. But yeah, that's what I'm going F minus.
Okay.
I gotta catch up
Well,
with
you
him.
said, real quick, you said no promises have been fulfilled. He did run primarily on securing the southern border, and in 6 months there have been 0 border crossings that have ended up with an illegal alien being released into the interior of the United States. That is one promise that he did keep, and he fulfilled.
I don't really care for that policy, so.
Okay. Well, you said that he kept none of his promises,
Yeah,
but I think
I'm gonna move on.
Okay, I think Democrats are usually mad that he has kept a lot of his promises. And I love it. He hasn't kept any of his promises. Then wouldn't she like him then? Because he wouldn't have done anything that he said he was gonna do. Well, you look fancy. Where are you going on a Saturday morning all dressed up?
We're just going out for brunch.
I love that. All right. You guys dating?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Do you?
Yeah.
All right. We just formed a lovely relationship. Okay. So smitten with you. Look at she's admiring you so much. That is beautiful. Okay, you guys have a wonderful Saturday. I'll leave you alone, and make sure you pay.
Thank you for
yeah.
thank you for spreading the gospel. Thanks.
Oh, I could do a better job at it, but yeah. Well, you walked away without me even asking you any
It's Sunday
questions.
morning. I don't think before noon I was.
It's
done.
Saturday.
See? Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, most people know it's. I'm just kidding with you. So I mean, since we're back, if you want to elaborate on what you said.
Listen, I give Donald Trump credit. Everybody's running around talking about he's this and he's that. He's not doing a horrible job.
Okay.
I'm a liberal, so I don't like his policies on immigration. I don't like how he drums up all that stuff. I give him credit for not starting no more wars.
Yeah.
That's number one. The way the first step you got to take in this country towards fixing the economy is stopping all the military spending
Mm-hmm.
and spending it on social programs.
Sure.
I don't like what he's doing with the SNAP benefits. I don't like what. But it's
Well, what is he doing with the SNAP benefits?
See, I don't know for sure. I haven't fact checked, but he's allegedly making people reapply and just starting the process all over again.
Where have you heard that?
I think it was Wall Street Journal. I could be mistaken there.
I have not heard that at all. But letter grade A through F on his job so far, what would you give him?
F.
Why? That's pretty harsh.
It is. It's just, I don't know. Everything's just, everybody doesn't like him, so yeah.
I like him.
You like him?
Yeah. They like my channel. So why would you give him an F?
I don't know. He's just not doing great right now.
Farmers markets are usually always pretty calm, but there could always be that crazy liberal lurking on the road. That's why I always go with security everywhere I go, every time I film. If you want to keep me safe out here, you go to patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett. Even $5 a month helps support my security fund all the time. And so thank you guys. If you support my work, that's the best way to help me keep coming out here to produce it. What would you give them based on the job so far?
I'd probably give them, depending on, because I'm a senior,
Mm-hmm.
so they're talking about getting rid of our, money, like 30%, they're gonna cut it in another couple of years. So if he comes, there's gonna be so many seniors that are gonna be out of work. Or,
Cutting what?
Cutting our social security 30%.
Mm-hmm.
We have $2.3 trillion sitting in our, that the baby boomers collected over the years.
Yeah.
And now they're talking about cutting it 30% because it's gonna run out.
Yeah.
So if he wants to help a lot of the seniors, because there's going to be so many that are going to be homeless, that right now it's a C. I give him a C.
So you think people are be homeless if they cut Social Security by 30%?
The seniors, because my dad made $1,000 a month. If they cut it 30%, that's $700.
Yeah.
He can't afford to live on $700.
Well, Social Security was never meant to survive off of. It was just a supplement to your retirement. So
95% of the people are living on Social Security.
yeah, well, they shouldn't be because that's an abuse of the system.
Yeah, well, so is 42 million people living on food stamps.
I agree with you there. I agree with
Get
you.
up and get a job.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. What in the national budget was cut that you say Trump is purposely trying to weaken our defense?
Like our cuts to our education, there's our cuts to our, there's the cut, sorry, excuse me. That was kind of on the spot here.
When you say our defense, are you talking about military-wise and national protection?
No.
What do you mean by defense?
I'm talking to our people. I'm talking to our intelligence. I'm talking to our obviously he cares about our defense, but I'm talking about our actual people. He's talking about our future.
Okay, well, let me know if you agree with this. I would say Trump's job at the border has actually made our defense as a country better because he has prevented cartels and gang members from coming over. In the last 6 months, there's been 0 border crossings that have resulted in an illegal alien being released back into the country. There's been no illegal aliens released into the country when under Joe Biden there were millions just let into the country and released. And so I would say when we're talking about defense and what most people would assume, I think he's doing a great job with the defense of this country.
And the illegal crackdowns on the people that are in the country that are here legally, that are being detained illegally.
We're asking people to rate Donald Trump's job, A through F. What letter would you give him?
A.
I figured with that hat on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Chill.
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I'm not seeing my lower gas prices. That's what I'm a little mad about. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah, my gas is kind of expensive,
Okay.
but
Yeah. Okay. Has he kept his promises?
I want to say no. Not really. I mean, here and there probably, but I try not to follow politics that much because it just makes me mad. It really does. A lot of politics in general really piss me off because, why are you deciding what's best for people when you don't even know these people?
So we're like anti-democracy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so base though, honestly. If you could grade Donald Trump on a scale of A through F, what would you give him?
An A through F. We're being interviewed here.
An F minus. What? They gave him like a B or something.
Oh no, F minus.
I'm kidding. They said no comment. I don't know what their opinion was. Why give him an F minus? That's pretty harsh.
Look, Pope Leo. Oh, I do love Pope Leo. I give him an A++.
Okay, yeah, the Pope gets an A++.
The Pope said things that is contrary to what Donald Trump has said,
Okay.
such as if you're pro-life, you're against the death penalty.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's one of the things that's wrong with Donald Trump's policies. He should be pro-life from conception to natural death,
Okay,
right?
I revise it. He's not as bad as I. There's some things that are okay.
Probably like a B minus.
A B- Okay. Where can he improve?
I don't think he should have said anything about his current active position on H-1B immigration. I think that really damaged him, at least with, probably say it damaged him with our demographic, our age group.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 27.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I definitely think our generation is more very conservative and kind of locked down on immigration. And his comments about the H-1B visa do not resonate with MAGA at all. Would you?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. It's not that I necessarily disagree with his position on H-1B, because I think there are, particularly in tech, I think there are a lot of positions that, that we're not properly qualified for. Not to say there's a lot of entry-level job statistics where it's like, okay, yeah, we need to cut back on that with how we're doing. I think it was something around the ballpark of 80% of entry-level jobs
We're taken by the HB1 visa immigrants.
And obviously, I'm in tech myself.
Okay.
So, looking at that, you just need to incentivize training. I think I just read an article recently, I think it was from 2023, about how there's just a lack of workplace training for people of our generation.
Yeah.
And I think it is much easier to just say, well, why would we decide to train when we can just have people that have, more credentials overseas?
Yeah.
You need to keep the geniuses coming in, particularly for tech. But overall, I think it's I think H-1B immigration is necessary, but I think the extent to which we're doing it is not.
What would you grade Donald Trump for his job so far?
I'm not playing these games.
Oh, you're just getting, pretend you're a teacher. We're playing the game of teacher.
We don't like Trump.
You don't
so
like
that's
Trump?
why I think he does it, yeah.
No, why not?
It's okay.
But I think people should have, with 42 million Americans on food stamps, some people should have to reapply. Absolutely, because there are a lot of people on food
family
stamps.
members who are sucking the system dry.
Yeah.
Here's my issue though, and I don't it's not all his fault. They really did use the Justice Department to try and put him in jail so he wouldn't run for president again. They really did use the machinery of the government to try and promote her. And guess what? He won.
So they're not going into the court to renew their visa. They're coming into the court because they have an order to be there because their visa has expired.
Of their visa, either for
Yeah.
renewal of that because they're working here legally, or yeah, I'm saying those people should absolutely not be detained just to reattend the court hearing so long as they haven't missed that hearing
Yeah,
date.
that's not what's happening.
It has happened too, though, but it's been a mix. I think
there's people that are being detained, like I said, illegally or by mistake. There was a woman literally either this or last week that was basically detained racistly, by the way, because she was a Native American who essentially was detained under false pretenses because essentially they thought she was an illegal immigrant. How do you explain that?
Yeah, so are you up in arms every time someone is detained by the police because they match the description of a suspect and then they bring them in for questioning and they realize that actually this isn't the person and they get released? Have you always been against that?
It's actually yes, considering how rough they can be treated, how the...
No, I'm just talking about in principle. If someone matches the description of a suspect and they're detained by police, the police bring them in. When they realize they're not the right person, they let them go. That's completely lawful. That's what also happens with ICE agents. Because people match descriptions of suspects, or this person could have been mixed up in really crazy illegal gang activity, and that's what happened as well. But was this person released?
Okay, well, there's a difference between matching a suspect and racial profiling.
Yeah. What proof do you have for that?
What do you mean, what proof I have for that?
Yeah, I'm just asking for proof. If someone was racially profiled by ICE, I would love proof for that.
If you wait, okay, when there was a whole case about it this past week.
Wait, what was the case?
I can't remember the actual name, but it was literally you know what? Forget this. You're trying to lead this entire conversation.
I'm just asking for proof.
No,
I just asked you for more information about your claims. How am I leading anything? You're leading the whole conversation. It's all up to you. What letter would you give?
Yeah, A-. Solid. Yeah, solid. I mean, not absolutely perfect.
Right.
If I ever find one that is perfect, I know he's lying to me somehow.
Yeah. What would you say to Donald Trump to get that to like an A+? What would he need to do better?
Honestly, not much more really he can do. I mean, kind of mouths off a bit much, which is, not gonna lie, amusing, but...
Maybe that is like a parent-teacher conference for his behavior in his mouth.
Yeah, but at the same time, I actually appreciate it because, quite frankly, I did start paying attention to politics till, the 90s when I was a kid, and I noticed it was always the same exact talking point every single time. And that just got really, really annoying and kind of jaded.
Well, hey, at least he doesn't forget what he's saying, and at least we can understand what he's saying, right?
Oh, that's a plus.
What are some things he's done that's good?
Oh, okay. He helped broker a ceasefire in Israel.
Yes.
But it remains to be seen if it will hold for a long time.
I'm not too confident in that, but that's not Trump's fault. That's their fault, I would say. That's not Trump's fault. He did a great job getting it done, but it's up to them.
But he needs to be stricter with Netanyahu. I mean, he needs to stop giving all that money to Israel.
I thought it was America first. How is that America first? Why are we getting?
And why do we
Argentina? And why are we bombing places if it's MAGA first? Right?
Who are you bombing?
Is it Venezuelan? The Venezuelan boats?
Yeah, MAGA first and America first means not letting foreign people, foreign drug cartels bring drugs to hurt American citizens. That's America
That
first.
is true, but there are legal ways to curtail
not
these
just randomly
boats
bombing boats.
Yeah.
But
No, they're not randomly bombing.
How is that pro-life?
No, I'm not saying. Well, I mean, an argument could be made that they are committing violence and they are leading to the deaths of millions of Americans.
Okay.
And so, you know what I mean? What have you always wanted to say to Caitlin Bennett? I know you've dreamt of this moment.
I have dreamt of this moment, funny enough. I don't have anything to say to you. We don't agree, but I don't hate you. That's
I
all
don't
I
hate
can
you
say.
either. Yeah, you guys were really fun to talk to. So thank you for the fun interaction. Have a beautiful day here, and I'll meet up with you at Warped Tour, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Promise? Pinky promise? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching today's
AI is transforming customer service, and the leader is Finn. We win in all the benchmarks and the bake-offs, and we're number 1 in G2 with complex queries. We now back that all up with the Finn $1 million guarantee. Come learn more at Finn.ai.
Holiday your way this Thanksgiving at New Seasons Market, where eating good is doing good.
Go away here! Go away home!
You scam people.
I dropping your camera, okay?
Stay away from her. Hey.
They pickpocket you.
Yes, my wallet is stolen and they dropped the floor.
This is not the France you would imagine. This is almost like a third world city, third world country.
Paris, France, what was once a great beacon of light for European nations with beautiful architecture and art, has now become nearly an unrecognizable city as the European Union has allowed over 87 million migrants into Europe, and a large percentage has entered into France. I'm going to show you the effects of migration from scammers at the Eiffel Tower to districts in the heart of Paris that have now become strongholds for immigrant communities. Let's start by going to the Eiffel Tower.
Look at what happened. All the scammers are running already. Just got on the subway. Here they come. 1, 2, 3. Look at what? Just got off the subway. First impression of France. Scammers fleeing into the subway. Right as you get off the subway here to go to the Eiffel Tower, scammers just fleeing. Just got the bird whipped in the face. Here's the police right here. All the scammers must have been just right here. The police came through right here, and now the scammers just went right underneath the subway. All these scammers are all coming from the continent of Africa.
And because of beautiful exposés on these illegal migrant scammers done by YouTubers like Tyler Oliveira, The Honest Guide, and Kurt Kaz, I had to get creative. So I brought along with me my mother, Brooker T. Jones, and my cousin, as we were just going to go about filming a family vlog, making a family member to see what it's like to try to make a family vlog outside of the Eiffel Tower.
We're just creating some good family members out here outside the Eiffel Tower, and then we'll be moving throughout Paris for the rest of this video. Here we go though. Let's see what happens with all these scammers. Ah, here they are. And the Lagubus. How much do Lagubu?
1 minute. No video.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey. I tourist. I was family.
Okay, no video.
Family vacation. Family vacation. How much for the Labubu? How much for the Labubu? Labubu. Oui, how much Labubu? Labubu, how much Labubu? Chua Labubu. He wants a Messi jersey. He just graduated high school, senior trip. What? So you want a Messi jersey or? Ask me if he has Ronaldo. Ronaldo? How much? They won't sell us anything. Why is everyone so mad at the camera? The problem with these illegal migrant scammers is you have these businesses here that are paying for a business license. They have to pay the taxes. They have to pay their revenue back to the government because of the taxes, obviously. So they have them right here. Then you have people over here selling by the tenfolds. Meanwhile, you have people that are trying to run businesses selling the exact same stuff. Meanwhile, those scammers are going to be able to sell for a lot cheaper, and then they won't have to pay a tax on top of that. What do you think about the scammers?
On fait avec. Oui, on fait avec. On n'a pas le choix.
Do they make it harder for your business?
Later in the day, this shop closed, and then all of a sudden, all of the scammers came out for the day.
It appears that all the scammers have been let loose here. They're literally everywhere. You have one right here, this person's getting scammed. You have more right here, more right there. And then you have 10 people right there. And this shop is closed, and this guy apparently doesn't want to get put on camera. Meanwhile, he just sold her some fake stuff. What? We're video, we're tourists. You're in my shop. You're in my video. You're in my video.
One of the scammer's comrades decided to step in.
Hey, this is my video. I'm here with family. Hey, sir, stop it. Hey. Whoa. No. Stop it. Stop it. Hey. Stop it. Oh, bro, hey, you get out of my photo. Hey, back off. You're in my photo. I was explaining. You get out of my video. You leave my video. Hey. Stop this. No. Stop. You stop it. You stop it. Stay away from her. Hey. You stay away. Stay away from her. Craziness.
Craziness.
Stay away from her. Hey. You stay away. 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 Stay away from her. Hey.
Look, now he's going after my mom. Brooker T, you stay away from that scammer. This is my theory on all of these illegal migrant scammers. They're all working for one big group here, because why would you have literally nearly 100 of the same exact shops, not even shops, they're on blankets that they can take away and run away. And if you notice, a lot of them are on their phone, taking photos, sending it to their WhatsApp group chats. They're trying to tell people, don't talk to this guy because he is a bad person. These scammers, they do get extremely hostile. Imagine you're just mom coming through here, trying to get some family memories, get a vlog with the family, and you pull out a camera, you're gonna get attacked by some scammers here in Paris, France. This place is crazy. Not only do you have people trying to sell you Eiffel Towers everywhere you go, you also have Romanian gypsies in groups of 2 going around asking for signatures for the deaf and blind, and then trying to extort you on the spot. I sent out my mother, Brooker T. Jones, as a decoy to try and lure in 2 of these scammers, and while she was luring in the Romanian gypsies, an African man who's trying to sell wristbands for free tried to scam her as well.
Do I have to pay for that?
If you like it, if you like it, no problem.
So I don't have any.
And as I watched my mom accidentally walk into this scam, I had to step in. Watch out! No!
What?
No!
What?
Go on.
I don't.
Go.
I don't.
Go.
I don't have any money.
Huh? This is like the battlefield of scammers out here. And once again, we sent Brooker T. Jones out for the bait for the Romanian gypsies. You are scamming her. This is a scam. You scammer.
Fun time.
Do not give money. Do not give money. Scam. Scam. Don't give money to these people. They are scammers. You scam people.
I'm robbing your camera, okay?
You're robbing my camera.
Excuse me.
Scam.
Hi.
You're scamming people. You scam people for a living. Ooh.
Alright!
You scam people.
Alright!
Hey. You're crazy. She spit on me. Now they're running away. Yeah, 3 of them. She just spit.
Go away, let
You
me know.
scamming.
Go away, please.
You're
go
scamming
away.
people. Yes. They scam people. Pickpocketers. Even these guys don't like them. They're saying pickpocketer.
Want to film me? You go.
Hey.
Come film me!
Hey. Hey, what are you doing?
What are you doing? You need to film?
No.
You want to go?
You're scamming people. Why are you taking your clothes off? What the heck? She just started taking her clothes off.
What?
They come at you, they want your money, and then you're good. No. No picture of you. I'm leaving. Hey, watch out. You got these scammers. Look, you're a scammer. You're a scammer. No, after you. You scam people.
A lot of scammers, man.
You go now. You go.
Hey,
No, you go. This is not your problem.
you scam people.
Yeah, this is not your problem. You go away. No.
These people are aggressive. You call them out for scamming, robbing tourists? Look at them. Woo! These people are getting aggressive out here. Are you mad someone's calling you out for scamming people now? Now they're going to a chair. They're resorted. Oh no.
You won't touch me. Huh?
I don't touch you.
Why? Go away here. Go away home. Okay, don't follow me.
You scam. Pickpocket. Scam.
Not your problem. Go away. Go this. Go.
Hey.
You are a boy. You won't touch me.
I don't touch you.
You go.
I don't touch you.
This is not your fault. Crazy people.
I don't touch you.
Yeah, you won't touch me.
I don't touch you.
You go.
You pickpocket. You scam.
This is not
You
your
scam people for a living.
Okay, yeah.
You scam people. Stop scamming tourists. You're ruining the experience for everybody here.
Okay, please let me go and go, please.
Look at this. Just got doused with water.
Please go.
Stop scamming people.
Okay, I stop it. Go.
Stop scamming.
Don't follow me. You're crazy.
You're crazy.
You go.
You go.
It's not your problem.
Stop scamming people.
You want to touch. You want to touch girl.
I don't touch girl.
This is not your problem.
I don't touch girl.
Yeah, you want to touch me.
I've never touched girl.
Okay, go please.
You go.
Go you.
You go.
You want to touch lady.
This is fucking
I don't touch
crazy.
you. Do not lie. They're lying. They're liars. You're a pickpocket. Oh, look at this. No way. They turned it around and said that I'm the pickpocketer. I don't pickpocket anybody.
Okay, please.
I don't pickpocket anybody.
I nice behavior. Go away. Let me alone, please.
Stop scamming people.
Okay, I'm going.
Stop scamming
Don't
people.
speak. Don't follow me.
Stop scamming people. Look, no one's getting scammed when someone calls them out. No, I don't want your money. Look, now they're trying to pay me off. They're trying to pay me off. No, I don't want your money.
You go away. This is not your problem. You're not that.
Stop scamming people. Stop lying to people saying you're helping people. They tried then to pay me off. Booker T. Jones, is this the Paris experience you used to have when you came to the Eiffel Tower?
No, it's not.
Scammers out here, they're benefiting off of your generosity for their scam. Do not fall into the trick.
Then the police caught a group of these people pickpocketing.
The police are out now. Oh, look, they're arresting them.
And really quick,
And while scammers are running absolutely rapid out here outside Eiffel Tower, I want to tell you guys about something that sounds so good you would think it's a scam, but it is not. And that is the sponsor of today's video, Current. Current is a modern day banking app that gives you more for your paycheck with features like Paycheck Advance. Once you qualify, you can get up to $750 when you need it most. And direct deposits that let you get paid up to 2 days faster. And you'll also get fee-free overdrafts up to $200 with no surprise fees. And look, scammers are trying to get you right now. The scamming out here does not stop, but at Current, they'll never get scammed. And with Current's Build Card, many members are seeing their credit scores improve by 80 points in just 6 months. See that? Scammer. And on top of all of that, Current is also going to give you 4% bonus on savings, access to over 40,000 fee-free ATMs,